Welcome to this Medicaid Nuts and Bolts video by the Colorado Cross Disability Coalition. I'm Amy Petray-Hill, an attorney and the Deputy Director of CCDC's Individual Advocacy Team. Today, we'll tackle a confusing change in Medicaid buy-ins renewals that many people with disabilities are facing. By the end of this video, you'll be able to 1. Understand how the process of renewing your eligibility for Medicaid buy-in has recently changed. 2. Identify those confusing request for more information letters that improperly ask about your assets. And 3. Create an effective response that will ensure you successfully renew your adult Medicaid buy-in eligibility without unnecessarily sharing all your financial information.
Let's start with a quick refresher on adult Medicaid buy-in. This program, also known as Working Adults with Disabilities, or WAD, allows working adults with disabilities to buy into Health First Colorado by paying a small monthly premium, $200 or less, even when their income or assets exceed standard Medicaid limits. The key point to remember is that Medicaid buy-in eligibility only looks at monthly income. That's earned income, which you might make from a job, or unearned income, like a monthly Social Security disability insurance payment. But it does not look at assets. So your checking account balance, vehicles you own, or retirement savings shouldn't matter for eligibility purposes. Only income from these assets, like pension payments or investment dividends, count when you are paid it in a month and it becomes part of your unearned income. The program provides comprehensive health care coverage and some long-term support services. To qualify, you must be a U.S. citizen or qualifying non-citizen, at least 16 years old, have a disability, be working any number of hours for pay, and have a $5,869 or less in monthly earned and unearned countable income. Because earned income from a job is divided in half to determine Medicaid buy-in income, you could make over $11,000 in earned income and still qualify for Medicaid buy-in.
In February 2025, Health First Colorado announced a significant change to how it determines eligibility for the adult Medicaid buy-in program, specifically for those who also receive long-term services and supports, or LTSS. Previously, you could simply renew your eligibility by filling out your renewal packet and providing evidence of your monthly income. If you qualified for Medicaid buy-in but didn't want to participate, you just told Health First Colorado you were opting out. Now, beginning July 1st, 2025, the Colorado Medical Assistance Program, CMAP, the department managing adult Medicaid buy-in, is sending annual renewal packets asking for proof of assets, even to those already enrolled in Medicaid buy-in. Their new process has 2 steps. First, they want you to fail eligibility for standalone LTSS. You do this by proving you have income of over $2,901 each month, assets over $2,000, or more than 1 vehicle or house. Only then can you opt in to the Medicaid buy-in program, where only your monthly income matters. But what exactly it means to opt in isn't clearly explained in their communications. Since February 2025, CCDC has seen some bizarre and contradictory letters being sent to adult Medicaid buy-in recipients. Some ask for detailed asset information, which we'll cover today. Others discuss 60-day extensions on renewals or appear to terminate benefits altogether. We'll address those other types of letters in a separate video. Now let's examine what these problematic letters actually look like. Here's an example of a request for more information letter from Health First Colorado. Two important things to note. First, check the upper right-hand corner. The sender is the Colorado Medical Assistance Program, CMAP. If you're on Medicaid Buy-In with LTSS but don't receive other benefits like SNAP, you only need to respond to CMAP, not your county. Second, note when you actually received the letter, not just this date printed at the top. There's often a delay between when Health First Colorado sends you a letter and when it arrives, especially in rural areas. The date you receive it is crucial if you need to file an appeal later.
On the second page, you'll see a list of information they want you to provide by a specific deadline. Colorado Medicaid regulations require that members have 10 days from receiving a notice to submit requested information. Here, that's March 7th. So if, for example, you received this letter on March 5th, just a couple of days before the submission deadline, you can contact CMAP for an extension. Alternatively, you can file an appeal for improper notice. We have another video explaining how to file Medicaid appeals. Now let's analyze what information they're requesting. First, they're asking about a retirement fund's cash value, total value. This is an asset. And they want your February 2025 statement, the entire statement submitted. For somebody already on Medicaid Buy-In, this is an improper request. You only need to report monthly income, not asset values. If you receive a monthly payment from this pension fund, you would only need to provide documentation of that monthly amount. Second, they're asking about a checking account's total value, which is also inappropriate unless you receive interest payments from it on a monthly basis. In that case, you would only need to report the amount of interest you receive each month from that account, not the total value of the account. Third, they mention another checking account, but they don't even specify which account they're talking about. They simultaneously ask if it was sold or given away, a question that might be relevant for standalone LTSS with its $2,000 asset limit, but it is irrelevant for Medicaid Buy-In. The following two requests in the letter repeat the earlier ones, which is a common error we're seeing. Some members are even being asked about assets they reported selling years ago, before the COVID public health emergency. So if you receive a letter with confusing, repetitive, or inappropriate requests, don't worry. You don't need to provide all that information.
On page 3 of this request for more information letter, they tell you to submit information via Peak. However, ignore this advice. We consistently find that information submitted through Peak gets lost in the system. Peak also has a 5 megabyte load limit, which is inadequate for many disability-related documentation needs and for uploading income information. And Peak doesn't always provide receipts confirming what you sent and when you sent it. Instead, email your response directly to cmapbuyin@dhha.org. That's CMAPBUYIN@DHHA.org. This provides proof of what you submitted and when you submitted it. That's what we here at CCDC do with our adult Medicaid buy-in renewals. If email isn't an option and your response is brief, you can fax it to CMAP, but be aware of size limitations. If it's over 5 or 6 pages, don't try to fax your information. If you live in the Denver metro area, consider dropping off your documents in person at 655 Bannock Street, Denver 80204 on the Denver Health campus. However, dropping off documents is not a possibility for everyone, so if that will not work, use registered mail requiring a signature from a CMAP staff member. While this is more expensive and time-consuming than emailing, it provides proof that your application was submitted on time and that it was received. Now let's cover how to respond effectively. We've created a template based on successful renewal emails we've sent on behalf of CCDC members. Step 1, you want to provide your full name and Medicaid number. Specify when you actually received the letter, not the date printed on it, and then clearly state that you are renewing your Medicaid and LTSS benefits through Medicaid Buy-In. You have income or an asset that makes you ineligible for standalone long-term services and supports, or LTSS. Either your income is over $2,901 a month, you have assets over $2,000, or your name is on the title of another vehicle or another home. You are providing proof of this asset, and you are explicitly opting into the Medicaid Buy-In program. Some CCDC members have simply opened savings accounts of over $2,001 specifically to demonstrate they exceed the standalone LTSS asset limit, which forces Health First Colorado to process their renewal under Medicaid Buy-In rules, but it does not require them to provide information about their other assets. Step 2 is addressing each item requested in the letter with one of these responses. First, provide proof of just one asset that disqualifies you from standalone LTSS. This could be your name on titles for two vehicles, like a car and an accessible van. A checking account statement showing an over $2,000 balance, or documentation of monthly income over the LTSS limit. For all other requested items, you can say, not needed, as I don't qualify for standalone LTSS per item number X, referring to your documentation above. If you do have an asset that generates income, like a pension or investment account, only provide documentation of the monthly income received, not the asset's total value. Be sure to ask CMAP to confirm receipt of your email. Setting up a read receipt in your email program can help. Finally, specify how they should contact you with questions. If you need accommodation, state that clearly in your email or letter. Email communication is recommended since it creates a written record, but you can also send a certified mail letter, or if phone communication works better for you, consider recording conversations with CMAP staff. This is legal in Colorado, and it will allow you to maintain a record of your discussions with Health First Colorado. If you can't make sense of your Medicaid Buy-In renewal packet or additional request for information letter, remember, appeal first, think second. Starting July 1st, 2025, we return to pre-pandemic appeal timelines. You have just 10 days after receiving a notice of termination or reduction of benefits, or 10 days after your benefits ended, to file an appeal. So don't delay. File your appeal using the process described in our appeals video, then reach out to CCDC or another advocacy organization to help you figure out next steps. Thank you for watching this video. We've covered the changing renewal process for adult Medicaid Buy-In, how to identify inappropriate requests for asset information, and how to create an effective response that protects your eligibility without unnecessarily disclosing all your financial details. If you found this helpful, please consider becoming a CCDC member. It's free. And think about donating to the Colorado Cross Disability Coalition at www.ccdconline, all one word, .org. CCDC is Colorado's premier advocacy rights organization run by and for people with disabilities. Our individual advocacy team provides free assistance to help people with disabilities access and maintain the Medicaid benefits they need, including helping members file Medicaid appeals. Look for more nuts and bolts videos on the CCDC website and YouTube channel. And if you have questions about this video or suggestions for new Medicaid nuts and bolts videos, please give us a call or send us an email to appeals@ccdconline.org.